Welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn about checkboxes and Boolean values. So I'm going to go to the Developer tab and insert a checkbox from the form control, not from the ActiveX control. When I do so, I will draw it underneath our Year 1 Fixed OpEx scroll bar because I want to use this to turn on and off the Year 1 Fixed OpEx or Fixed OpEx in general. So let's say use Fixed OpEx. And it's intuitive to all of us that when that's checked, we're going to use it, and when it's not checked, we're not going to use it. We need a cell link. We could also change the current value of that checkbox, but as soon as we check it, that's going to change. So we can ignore those and just link it to our cells. I'm going to link it down here where this number originally was. And the first thing I want to do is color that cell yellow so that I know it's the linked cell, and put a label up here so I know what it is. And then let's see how it works. When I click the box, it says true. When I unclick the box, it says false. To cut to the chase, those are Boolean values. They're not just words. And what that means is Excel already knows what to do with them. So we could come over here for our fixed OpEx, and we could say, instead of just referring it to G7, we could say if this equals, I'm going to say the word true, and when I put it in double quotes, it means it's just checking the spelling of a word. Then go ahead and use that value, otherwise use 0. And let's see if that works. And then all these others need to say equals the cell above them, Control Enter. Let's see if that works. Wish we could make this font bigger, but we can't with form controls. So let me click away. And when I check the box, this word turns to true, and Fixed OpEx does not see it. Even though we said if H34 is true, then go ahead and use this other number, the negative of it. So this time let's take the double quotes off of that word. Ordinarily, when we're checking to see if a word matches something, we need the double quotes. But if I take the double quotes off, then it works. And of course, all the other cells are just looking up. So that's the difference between text in double quotes and a Boolean value, which Excel just sees as true. And that's about all we need to know about a checkbox. While we're here though, I'd like to talk about Boolean values. Recall from the last video that we set up a spinner to control the year of second Capex. In fact, we reversed the direction of that by saying some number minus the linked cell. And that way when we click on the down arrow, the number actually gets bigger, which is not standard for these spinners. But we did that so we could watch this Capex go up and down. So now let's set that up. Amount of second Capex. And I'm going to say that one's going to be $8,000. Going to take this cell and copy it, and I'll come over here and paste the formats. Usually I do an Alt-HVS, but I'll do a paste special here to show you that we're pasting formats to do that. And now that cell is formatted just exactly like that cell was. I could have grabbed this one, but I wouldn't have had the $sign. So we've got the amount of second Capex. And what I'd like to do now is write an if statement here that says if the year that we're in equals the year of our second Capex, $signs, then use the negative of this 8,000, $signs, otherwise use 0. And that should give us, copy that. That should give us a Capex amount that moves around. Just a little bit off the screen here. Let's click up and watch that $8,000 work its way up this column. So each formula is saying, well, if it's in the correct year, then use the 8,000, otherwise use 0. If that formatting bothers you, let me come up here, do the same thing, copy. This time I'll use the shortcut to get to paste special. Alt HVS, or even the legacy shortcut, Alt ES will get you there. So we'll hit the formats, and now it looks a bit more like that one. And so that works with an if statement. Let's come down here and do a formula text on that. That's our formula, but I'd like to show you something even shorter. We'll do a Boolean check. And so this is just a check to see, does that cell equal the year of our second Capex with $signs? And if so, it's going to be true, and if not, it's going to be false. So we'll paste that in all these cells. Furthermore, we could say multiply that Boolean value times the negative, I guess, of our expenditure. And I need to absolute reference on that. If we copy that down. So notice that Excel is treating that true and false as a 1 or a 0. So it's multiplying a 0 times our 8,000. Here it's multiplying a 1 times our 8,000, and then zeros times our 8,000. So I think that is easier than the Boolean check. In fact, we could even combine these two. We could nest this inside. So we could say, instead of T44, we could go back to that assumption. I'm going to put it in parentheses. We could say the year equals the year of our second Capex with $signs. Copy that up and down, and it will work the same. Copy the formula text over here. And you may say, well, that's no shorter than that is. And if statements are more intuitive to me than these others. And I would say that's fine for something this short, but what if we wanted to add another checkbox up here? So I'll go to Developer, Insert, a checkbox, Form Controls Not ActiveX Controls, and say edit text. And let's link that checkbox to the cell I just created down here. Now we have yet another check to see if we want to turn on this $8,000. So to enable that on the Boolean approach, all we need to do is multiply by one more Boolean value, lock that cell, copy it down, and over here with our if statement, we'd have to say if we're in the correct year, then use this value, otherwise don't use anything. We'd probably have to nest an if statement that says if this is true, then do all that stuff. If it's not true, do 0. And so copy that down. Let's see if both of these work. Well, it's not going to work if I don't use the $signs, is it? F4. Control D to copy down. Okay. So we're comparing the entire Boolean approach to the nested if statement approach. And if we turn it off, both of them go off. And if we move the Capex, so let's come down and compare the two formulas now. I like this one better than this one. You may obviously use whichever you like unless I ask you about Boolean values. So I'm going to copy the formula out of that cell. Might be safer to do it from up here if you're not following me. So copy that. Going to paste it over here. because that's the Boolean that I like better. I'm going to copy and paste. Then I can clean this up for the next video. Thank you.